What a fast Monday. Already Monday night as we get ready for Monday Night Football. Hope everybody had a good weekend. I have been obsessed with the Vegas Sphere. That's a hard word to say. Sphere. Anybody see that today? For where U2 is playing in that Sphere. All right, enough. We want to get to Week 4 lineup review. Happy Monday, everybody. Are we looking here? Too close, too far? We'll go over lineup review. This was my... wasn't a great week, but perspective. That's what we're about here. You can see This is my tracking sheet. I play 80% of my bankroll. No, 5% of my bankroll. And did not have a winning week. This is interesting. We all played O'Connell, the quarterback from the Raiders. And they had a 3rd and goal at the 1. He got stuffed. And where I was in the games that I lost, I finished 6th in a bunch. And the team in 5th did not have that quarterback in a lot of their lineups. So I would have leapfrogged. I think I was actually at 83-80 until this happened to me last week too. And then something happened at the end. It cost me to lose $13. But I won a bunch of my bets. I don't know if I shared it. But I do bets that I think are going to be not 57, 58%. I like to try to get 70 to 80% probability. All right? I do a lot of minus 180, minus 210, and I know the money's not great, but I'm in it for the long haul. And I don't do parlays. I'll do parlays on some bonus bets. And Fanatic Sportsbook is running some great ones right now that you should check out. You just have to, I put in $10. That's all you have to do. Minimum of $10. You place a $1 bet for 10 days in a row. And each day you've got to opt in. You get a $20 bonus bet. So you get $200. And you can just bet that on, like I threw one on the 49ers to win yesterday. It paid $3. But it's just free money. So do what you want. You can, I threw a crazy parlay on one for 20 to hit, I think, 20 grand. Didn't make it. But I would say use bonus bets for parlays, but I'm not for parlays. It's some of the advice that I've sought, and I've found some pros, and I know you see those great things that are tweeted out. And listen, I hit one earlier this year. I hit a prop that I put $8 in and won 450, and I tried that same combination and lost 10 straight times. So, a lot of it's going to be their sucker bets, but it's just like DFS. You want to try to get less things wrong than more things right, if that makes sense. That's confusing, right? I know I started with a negative first, but think of why I started that with. Yesterday, one of my best bets, I thought, DeAndre Swift's over-under for rushing yards was about 67.5, and I think it was minus 40. 50-plus rushing yards, which I think is much easier to get. 68 for a guy like that, I get they were a favorite at home. It's still no guarantee to me. So at 50, I believe it was minus 210. So yes, you lose money on that, but the probability is better. Now, he did score yesterday. So if you would have done a parlay with 50-plus yards and an anytime touchdown. But again, you can get stuffed at the 1-yard line. Yeah, weird things can happen. So you can sacrifice money, but you can win more in the long run. DFS is the same. When you're in doing tournaments, you want to stack games because then you're only putting 3 to 4 things in. And, there's 9 players, and you put a stack of 1 quarterback, 2 weapons, and a run back. That's 4 players, but that essentially is getting one thing right. Like if you got the Chicago-Denver stack right yesterday and you had 4 guys in that game, or three, you know, the minimum three, but say you double stacked it and put, I don't know, Fields with Herbert, Kmet, and ran it back with McLaughlin or Judy or whatever, then out of your lineup, the four guys, they all hit. Then if you're just taking one piece from all that, it's harder. So my bets won, and I ended up, I think, winning like $5 or $6 on the weekend, but I'll take it as long as I'm plus. You don't want minus. Like, I'd rather break even than lose money. And I know it sucks to break even, but so I think solid cash game scores seem to be higher this year. I mean, last week I had 167.34 and barely cashed. But they do seem to be higher, and I'll take this. My GPP lineups were terrible. But let's walk you through the process. Now, I was not in. I took away my weekly plays, but I still have my Vegas lines. So this is what I do. I'll do this probably tomorrow. I'll put in what Vegas says, and I'll always update it live. And then I put the games to target. I mean, look at this. If you go last week, games to target in order. San Fran, Buffalo, the Chargers, Philly, right? Even Miami, Dallas, obviously the Chargers. Say you started right there and made some cash builds. And again, these things can change, right? As we know. And I've said this before, if you want to manipulate your own things. But I stick with what, if I see anything that looks weird, I thought this game I was wrong. I thought this was going to be lower scoring, but it was not. Pittsburgh, I thought that was kind of weird they were favored. But if you just took this, I mean, you could have done a C-Mac, Cook, Diggs, Palmer, Swift, Dallas's defense. Oh, I did have the Chargers in there. What am I doing? So but you got to stick to some sort of system. So that's what I like to do. On Tuesday, I come in, lets me get a look, and I can start remembering what the games are going to be and what the lines are. So I'll look at this every day. Then I start making my weekly plays, and I come up with my process. And I'll show you what my process was. My process. Everybody's got a process. It's a really bad accent. Okay, so let me show you what. I don't like the way this looks. Okay, I like this look better. All right, so what was the process? Well, as I was putting together my lineups, and I thought, in this 4 of the 10 people, I was surprised. I thought maybe I would be the only one on Aiden O'Connell, but I think for $4,000, I shoot for 3 times the salary, 50,000 salary. 3 times is 150 points. I was close. I got to 149.82. So obviously, I've said this before. Some guys are going to give you 4 times the salary, and then some will give you 2, and it all equals out. But at $4,000 for a quarterback, and he turned the ball over 3 times and still got you 3 times value. Not a great game, but he did get stuffed at the 1, but you'll take it. All right. My locks were easy, and I start building with running backs first. McCaffrey was the easiest play of the week. 60% owned is surprising, but let's see. Yeah, this lineup didn't have him. This is a good lineup. This is kind of a sharp lineup. If you look at this, for a cash game, Allen's the only guy owned because usually in cash games people pay down a quarterback. So that's the other thing, but I'm not trying to win cash games, but this is a good lineup. And, look how close I was. 140, 82, 40. This is what happened to me in a lot of cash games. I mean, I'm less than a point from making a complete profit for the week. You know? But this is a pretty sharp lineup that, I wouldn't advise doing this. He's got some low-owned guys, but I would not play these two together in a cash game because they don't really correlate. Kincaid does, but to go with three of the same players in a cash game, that's risky. I don't like to go more than one, but maybe I need to adjust to that sometime. Cowboys were a really good play, a sharp play. This is a good lineup. I'm sure he did well in GPPs. This one too. Wilson, McCaffrey, Williams, Allen. Nacua I kind of got in there at the end. So I started with running backs. I do kind of regret playing Madison because he's not really that good. In more times than not, they are going to throw. But I thought with the targets last week, that he would have more of a targets. And Carolina was pretty bad against the rush. And he didn't have a bad game. He gets you the bonus. And what was he, 10% owned in this? 20%. So he gets the bonus for me. I mean, 5 more yards. I mean, I was really 6 yards away from blowing up. And it happens. It's a lot like the real sport. Kind of broke my rule about playing a favorite at home. I thought about Cook. I did not really think about playing Kyren Williams in cash games, and that was an oversight of mine. Just didn't think it. I looked at that game as a GPP game, with them being an underdog on the road. I stacked that game with Stafford, and it just didn't work out. And it probably, of course, hindsight's 20/20. But I liked these three. I thought they were in good spots. Carolina, bad defense. I thought, Swift was in a really good spot. Not bad. He did get 3 times the value, with the touchdown and the 4 catches. I'll take it. Keenan Allen, I think, disappointed, but it doesn't matter when he's 70%. So these guys that are higher owned, they don't really do a lot to your lineup. The Browns being 80% owns. It's if you can hit on some of these. And I was really struggling at tight end. I thought about playing Kmet, but this is just such a, I almost wish that we had 2 flexes because I don't enjoy playing tight ends. And I think it would force people, and if maybe they made the cap 52,000 and we could play another, a flex of maybe just tight end receiver. And this one, running back receiver tight end, where you could do on the flex, but do like just the special receiver tight end flex. I just think it's so garbage, this position, that it would be fun to play, a 3,000 salaried receiver, and it would make you do things. Dell didn't work out. I mean, I still like to play. I had Thielen in my list. They just didn't play him. But overall, it's weird. I don't really regret any of these plays. I think this is a solid cash lineup, and it did work for most. It just didn't, completely, and it was very close. So you can be happy with your process, which I still am. Let's see with my this is my Superflex lineup. So it's Superflex. At the Superflex spot, you can play anybody. I love this. Still look at the tight end. Look at the winning lineup. Had 237. I mean, I was pretty far. I was on Fields. Should have played McCaffrey. This is a good lineup here. Nothing crazy, though, guys, if you look at this. Fields with a stack, and he brought it back with Wilson. So that's what you can do with the return player in a super flex. You can return it with the other person's quarterback, because if you're entering tournaments and you don't have the mindset of, when I play this guy, I think he's going to go off. You can't say, well, I want to get different. No. That you can't do that. All right? You can get, like, for instance, you can get different yesterday with A.J. Brown, who was 5% projected ownership. And I saw him even lower, but he's a guy that had a good matchup, and you feel strongly about it. But if you and this was an easy matchup. I mean, I don't think Fields having a game like this against Denver was crazy. But don't throw guys in just because you think, oh, well, he's going to be 1% owned. I'm going to get so different. And then if he blows up, well, yeah, that's true. But in this, I wouldn't. So with the Superflex, again, I stacked it with more. I didn't bring it back with anyone. That was my mistake. I should have brought it. I liked the, I tried Herbert in the Superflex spot, but Wilson made so much more sense. And I love this. He went Fields, Kmet to Wilson, and then is there any secondary stacks? Single. Yeah, all singles after that. That if you look at that lineup, now I'm not taking anything away from this guy, all right? But does that look like a nutty lineup to you? Fields, McCaffrey, Cook at home when they're a favorite. That's a positive game strip. Nakua, Thielen, who's been great. Kmet, no doubt, out of the box play. But when you have Fields, you've got to play someone else. And Nico Collins. I mean, he's been pretty good. This isn't that nutty of a play. I mean, look at his targets, right? 32 targets in 4 weeks. Pretty good. Pretty good. So what was my thought process? This wasn't great. I tried to get a little too cute. Allen, you need 4 or 5 times the value back on that. Just didn't work out. On to the next. What was my best GPP lineup? Pretty. What was this? Did a Brock Purdy to Ayuk to Kittle. Ran it back with Marcus Brown. I mean, that's not bad. Look at the ownership for Brown. Now, the guy Wilson scored 2 touchdowns. He's going to be popular on your waiver ads and your season longs. Probably Purdy, Ayuk. This just didn't work out. Moss didn't, I thought at home. Swifts went with, Sutton here, and the Eagles defense just didn't try to pair Eagles with Swift as the correlation. Let's see, what else did I have? My second lineup. Oh. Yeah, it was Wilson to Judy and Sutton, bringing it back with Moore. I had a 49er defense. I mean, they didn't really do much yesterday. Low owned. Wanted part of that Charger game. This just didn't work out. And then this was a disaster. Cousins to Jefferson. Ran it back with Hawkinson. Another game stack of Downs and Atwell. Thought Quentin Johnson might be good. But this was a poo-poo show, if that makes any sense. And then some of my higher costs ones did not do well. Yeah, these are my $5 ones, I believe. Yep. Stafford to Nakua and Atwell. Ran it back with Moss, Swift, Palmer, Kittle, Jacobs. Low on the Eagles. Just not good. We'll get my FanDuel. I had some free lineups that I made for FanDuel. I want to show you my last DraftKings lineup. Was not good. Another $5 one, I think. Or was this $10? $3. Kenny Pickett. Disaster. He got hurt, I think, in this, right? Yeah. Disaster. Pickett to Austin. And Pickens ran it back with Dell. I mean, this is Absolute garbage. Had McCaffrey stacked the Hill Cook game. Who won this tournament? 239. Yep. Allen, Diggs, Kincaid, Allen low on too. FanDuel history. Favorite bet tonight: Kenny Walker over 50 yards. If you're gonna do parlay, put touchdown. DraftKings has a 50% boost. Boost that up. Put 20, $30. You win 30. Just a suggestion. This was my best lineup. Hulu Live TV. Winner got $1,000. I mean, look at this. I had the two running backs. I mean, I have a lot of the same players, except, of course, Diggs. Minnesota's defense was good, too. So was the Chargers once they announced that they're going with the third stringer. So Wilson, 2. Sutton and Judy. It's so weird he throws 3 touchdowns and the receivers catch 1. I ran it back with DJ Moore. These 2 running backs want a piece of that Buffalo game. Flex Thielen in San Francisco just did not work out. So that was that. That was Sunday. Thank you for watching. Good luck. Let me know how you did.